Welcome to episode 48 of Liquid Velvet Literature here on Prose Radio. Our intro music courtesy The Cars, track Hello Again from the album Heartbeat City. I'm your guest host Mavia, and today we have a literary treat in the form of the Villanelle, a type of poem in which there are 5 sets of 3 lines rhyming in the scheme of A, B, A, and an additional set, which makes 6, that has 4 lines in it with the scheme of A, B, A, A. No particular meter is prescribed, though one is usually set by the particular poet. And we are focusing on this form of poetry today thanks to our friend Christine, a longtime member at Prose under the handle CK Munsell. Her love of language drew her to this particular form of poetry for its particular linguistic demands and how it reuses words and looks for the rhythm and the rhyme. And she first encountered this poem by Elizabeth Bishop, a well-known Villanelle, called One Art. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost, that their loss is no disaster. Lose something every day, except the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master. Then practice losing farther, losing faster, places and names, and where it was you meant to travel. None of these will bring disaster. I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last or next to last of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones, and vaster, some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I miss them, but it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love, I shan't have lied. It's evident the art of losing's not too hard to master, though it may look like, write it, like disaster. And we've had a lot of wonderful entries to the challenge posted by CK Munsell, and I'd like to begin with the most recently posted and have a run-through read, so we can do as many as possible. C.R. Hoagland writes, Silent Wings. All of time's passing is a silent flight, an owl whose ancient wisdom ever grows, carrying on despite how desperately we fight. We age from our eyes first, creases and lost sight. Slowly the rest of our body faithfully follows. All of time's passing is a silent flight. We seek to hinder the inevitable fading of our light. Too strong is the current that through us flows, carrying on despite how desperately we fight. Memories made and fade as the emotions they incite. Like all things, they will meet again at life's close. All of time's passing is a silent flight. Each of us will reckon with what we thought right. The peace of eternity is the only thing that knows, carrying on despite how desperately we fight, taking everything from us with its endless might, and giving us all we have in both highs and lows. All of time's passing is a silent flight, carrying on despite how desperately we fight. And I really like seeing how C.K. Munsell is responding to each piece as it's being posted. She's going in and reading and posting some really nice comments. RJTO408 writes, Courage of Heroes. Heroes are made. They aren't just born. When their courage is tested, they still stayed, laying their life down if that's the price to be paid. When the choice is tough and they are torn, heroes are made. Faced with impossibility, they aren't afraid. Hurt and defeated, their hope is worn. When their courage is tested, they still stayed. To all they aid, to whom their protection they have sworn, heroes are made. Their lives for others they would trade, even as they're faced with scorn. When their courage is tested, they still stayed. Their heart may now be weighed, their lives may be mourned. Heroes are made. When their courage is tested, still they stayed. We can really hear how the form is helping to give impact to each of the lines. And I see our friend Athena, 42, steals away with a bit of a spoof. She writes, "Hello there, I'm a very cool rebel. I like breaking rules and breaking rules. Please don't be mad at me." And all in good sport, Athena 42, clever take on the name of the form itself and inserting that little I. Our friend Dr. Semicolon writes, "Hand in glove. Preventing ease of donning hand in glove, we wear vambrace against the other's clutch. We just can't seem to reinsert our love. One-upmanship is vying from thereof, to sink in claws into arm's length as such, preventing ease of donning hand in glove. Two blinded birds who fall as starving doves, aware not of love's mandate, selfless touch. We just can't seem to reinsert our love. There is invented doubt from thieves above who flock, conspiring, pilfering as much, preventing ease of donning hand in glove. Defeathered birds will wander, pushed and shoved, in falcon sight were doves in aimless rush. We just can't seem to reinsert our love. In ignorance of dangers fraught whereof, we pass in rote and hobble on our crutch, preventing ease of donning hand in glove. We just can't seem to reinsert our love." And I do want to point out that in the form, it also seems a common device to not only reuse the phrases as a certain refrain, but also to reinsert words purposely in other spots. Excellently done, Dr. Semicolon. Senorita Slug writes, "Brown boy magic. To cross my path is enchanting and tragic, for my victims are tall, dark, and handsome, those fellows possessing brown boy magic. First I detect overgrown egos, metastatic. We lock eyes falling in tandem, like only we can access this level of aristocratic. Sincere, thoughtful, intelligent, and organic. My claws wrap around your heart, I take for ransom. Insatiable thirst for validation. Your pleas are practically automatic. You scream and kick, estranged to your own tactic. Horrified to find yourself alone in this fandom. I attack with neutrality, cold and traumatic. A silent encore for all the maidens you made erratic. Tell me how it feels to carry that phantom. Ask me how I cause such devastation and remain charismatic. We lock eyes, I whisper. You were never in my demographic." We can see how the form really lends intensity to whatever theme is taken up. Shred Muffins writes, "A journey. There's a boy standing in front of me, navigating life without a cheerer. Who in this world can help him feel free? People pleaser, but neglects his needs. His intentions never sincerer. This boy stands anxious in front of me. Loneliness is his most feared disease. Another's attention the cure. Who in this world can help him feel free? Peace a flower, solitude the seed. Through the dirt, sunlight drawing nearer, this boy is growing in front of me. As without, so within, the light he seeks, realizations becoming clearer. Who in this world can help him feel free? Sometimes alone, lonely he'll never be. And as I stare into this mirror, there's a man standing in front of me who found within the world which sets him free." Beautiful emphasis, Shred Muffins. Thank you. Artsy Bear writes, "The sound of silence. Blowing in the breeze, a gentle soothing sound, scattering the leaves in the tree, sinking to my knees, nature all around, floating in the grass, my green sea, buzzing with the bees as they dance for flowers found, a sense of calm overcoming me. Serenity is the key. To unlock the door, it is bound. All you have to do is find your inner peace. Calmly I sit and breathe. On a hill, my little mound, as I contemplate my future story. It would chaotic and daring, I think. Constantly my heart would pound, crazy, funny, and free. It will surely be one to read. And that one has a very sing-song aspect to it, which reminds that the Villanelle is actually based, or has its roots in an Italian dance form. Sharonda Briggs writes, "Sad eyes, a sadness in her eyes, holds truth. Don't question it, no disguise. The way her smile slides, like a pair of boots. You could see it in her eyes. A faded tear holds lies. She don't give a hoot. Her misery is no disguise. She smiles, but tries not to seem too loose. The mystery lingers in her eyes. The time for pain flies, no end or truce. She didn't need a disguise. Instead she cries, and it all that she went through, the sadness left her eyes. Happiness was now her disguise." Very impactful, Sharonda Briggs, thank you. And 7v7 writes, "The tick. Little grips the blood with fear, like idled hands. What slips across the face, iced as shadows, gloved with most benign of custom and demands. The governess sweeping wayward curl that lands, frozen for a moment, upon arched brows. Little grips the blood with fear, like idled hands. Devil may care for these hot and shifting sands that course and burn human fingers and toes, failing to hold firm the count's countless demands. O juggler you of minuets and grandstands, when all applause ends and our rest follows, little grips the blood with fear, like idled hands. Don't speak of evil or a bird in the hands, empty of work or wistful candle blows, of figurative or literal demands. Just a tot inside, taking part between bands. Inadequacy behind the glass shows. Little grips the blood with fear, like idled hands. As grandfather tolls, mother's fatal demands." Oh, and thank you for that reflection on time, 7v7. Our friend M. Mandel 321 writes, "The treasure of pleasure. I tether you, dear, with a pleasure so near, so deeply within it can't be ignored, a treasure that weathers all that I fear. I never buy treasure with anything mere, and bury my hope with passions restored. I tether you, dear, with a pleasure so near. I measure my pleasure in how I adhere to a life that I live while hoping to hoard, a treasure that weathers all that I fear. But whether that treasure for me is right here, there's much that I find that I cannot afford. I tether you, dear, with a pleasure so near. My pleasure is feathered by what I revere, and haunted by all I haven't explored, a treasure that weathers all that I fear. In my leisure I treasure your every tear, and wonder, my love, if you're my reward. I tether you, dear, with a pleasure so near, a treasure that weathers all that I fear." And we can really hear a nice sense of rhythm coming through that, as well as the rhyme. Our friend McDevil Toast writes, "Take a lover before you're physically frail. Take a lover before you're physically frail. However linear time may interfere, send blood to the cheeks before permanently pale. Eventually bones, joints, and ligaments fail. Oh, to bask in the sweet carnal veneer, take a lover before you're physically frail. The body's a temple, and then it's a jail, a waterlogged vessel difficult to steer. Send blood to the cheeks before permanently pale. Don't wait until the end of your tale for smiles and temptations in nursing gear. Take a lover before you're physically frail. As your coffin lies waiting for that final nail, tortured mischances year after year, send blood to the cheeks before permanently pale. The blunderbuss is loaded, and you are the quail. Life barely lived, and this is the fear. Take a lover before you're physically frail. Send blood to the cheeks before permanently pale." Very intense. Our friend writes, "The hat in the hall, to hang my honor in shame. See the unworn cap left nigh, the hallway hook calls my name. It's a silence most profane, tilt of brim have to deny, to hang my honor in shame. Of all good deeds most mundane, sits the pillbox by and by, the hallway hook calls my name, and calls the dark like a dame, to our dust that now doth fly, to hang my honor in shame. One fine gesture might remain, to yet beg the conscience, why the hallway hook calls my name, as all the world's stage proclaim, indecision's plateaus high, to hang my honor in shame, the hallway hook calls my name." And we can notice also that the Villanelle form tends to suggest a sort of elevated language and use of more archaic words. And the very first entry to the challenge was by Sandlot. "A soul-shaking nightmare. Last night I had a terrible dream. I was in a tunnel drenched in darkness and buffeted endlessly like a meme. Help me, I yelled, but no one heard me scream, as the walls kept turning with such hardness that my very soul was shaken, it seemed. Then something began pulling me full steam, to a pit littered with many a carcass. I thought, but it was like swimming upstream. I awoke, covered in sweat like a cream, wondering, what evil did I just witness? Was this a portent of hell? What did it mean? Soon my worries faded in daily routine, but I also went to church to confess my shortcomings to the being supreme. At night the dream again hit my esteem, but this time a smile I managed to harness. As a hand pushed me to the tunnel extreme, I noticed the sign, bottles, cans, redeem." Beautiful, Sandlot. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who is contributing to this challenge. It is still open, and our friend Christine, C.K. Munsell, is working on her entry, which we are very excited to see as well. And when she posts it, I'm hoping that Jeff or I will be able to feature it in an upcoming episode. Thank you again, and I'd like to close out with some lyrics. I was wondering if this form had been used in a song, and I happened to find one very quickly by Leonard Cohen entitled "Villanelle for Our Time."
From bitter searching of the heart, quickened with passion and with pain, we rise to play a greater part. This is the faith from which we start. Men shall know commonwealth again from bitter searching of the heart. We love the easy and the smart, but now with keener hand and brain, we rise to play a greater part. The lesser loyalties depart, and neither race nor creed remain from bitter searching of the heart. Not steering by the venal chart that tricked the mass for private gain, we rise to play a greater part. Reshaping narrow law and art, whose symbols are the millions slain, from bitter searching of the heart, we rise to play a greater part.
If you like to read, to write, to be inspired, visit theprose.com and see what writers today are currently working on. Thank you for listening, and take good care. And don't forget to enter the challenge.
This is the faith from which we start. Men shall know commonwealth again. From bitter searching of the heart, we rise to play a greater part.